Our next speaker is Dr. Zhou. Dr. Zhou is a postdoctoral fellow at the School of Architecture at Tsinghua University. She's also been curating Dunhuang themes exhibitions, including Staging Dunhuang at the Dunhuang Contemporary Art Museum, which is going to be the theme of our presentation titled Seeking Dunhuang Beyond Its Borders, Overview of Staging Dunhuang exhibition at Dunhuang Contemporary Art Museum. Please welcome Dr. Zhou.
Thank you, Colin, for the kind introduction, and thank the British Library team for inviting me here and including me as part of this wonderful symposium. And as the last speaker, I've learned a lot from today and yesterday's presentation, and you will find some of them, their echoes in my presentation. Today, I will be introducing the new exhibition, Staging Dunhuang, or 镜像 Dunhuang, the first show at the Dunhuang Contemporary Art Museum in Shanghai, opened in November last year, and will continue to be on display until the end of May, and everybody here are welcome to see this show. And the Dunhuang Contemporary Art Museum is the first ever contemporary art museum that has both Dunhuang and contemporary art in its title. So it presents a new question to itself and to its audience, that is, as in the words of one of the artists in participation of this show, how to correspond to the quote-unquote great classical Dunhuang. And although Dunhuang in the ancient times might not be treated as great classical, but through the modern and contemporary reiterations from scholarly and artistic perspective, it has already been a well-known image of a certain period of time and a certain region connected to the great, perhaps Tang Empire and the Silk Road narratives. And in actuality, our show faces the real question of how to do this time-space transfer from a sea of sand in the West regions to a contemporary reiteration or reconstruction of the cave temples. And luckily, I am involved in both the artistic creations. The show has invited 19 artists to contribute their work, and some of them have been specifically commissioned for this exhibition. And on the other hand, I am also one of the members in the curatorial team, which include the founder of the art museum, Du Chenyan, and our chief consultant, Wu Hong, and our historian in the University of Chicago. So based on this teamwork, I'm going to show what it has been doing. So we are not the first or not the last one to think about this question and to connect Dunhuang with artistic and engagements beyond Dunhuang. As we can see that from the last decade, then artists, curators, and perhaps conservators and scientists have been trying to incorporate the historical artifacts, the modern replica caves, and the digital art and also traditional medium arts into the display of this importable cultural heritage site in both like Dunhuang, London, and Los Angeles, New York, and these many places. And we have already seen solo art exhibition like Professor Xie Xiaoze's work. So in Staging Dunhuang, as we are participating in this globally collaborative mission to recreate and introducing Dunhuang to the world, this exhibition, in my view, is an experimentation with two expats, and this is from a point of an insider in this show and also an audience who have seen its development and its reception, etc. The one aspect is that this exhibition provides a virtual journey of approaching the Mogao Caves, meaning from the perspective of space, from farther time spaces to the natural environment, and then to the cave space, and even into the imaginary worlds inside this decorative cave interior. And the other experiment is that in the design of artworks and groups of artworks, we're trying to create a visual field in which contemporary, modern, and historical work intersect at various levels. In the following, I will first give a brief overview of the exhibition that is a virtual journey of this virtual journey. And then I will introduce one artwork in which I participated in its creation to illustrate on the second aspect. So first is that in this show, it's designed into 4 main chapters, from the history to the nature, and then to representation, to mental image in this route following the dash the red lines. We follow the follow the sequence in the exhibition space and filling these 4 themes after our first encounter. Our first encounter takes the viewpoint of a person who was born and feel heartedly belonging to this Dunhuang Mogao Caves. Shi Dunyu, she is a painter and also a consultant of our art museum. And here we are showing her parents at work with the first generation workers at the Dunhuang Academy, then named the Dunhuang Institute, and then also showing her as a kindergarten kid with all other kids born in the Dunhuang Caves, showing this memory of the site from a living person. And then in the history section, we then entering into a more of the records of how Dunhuang was formed, starting with the work by Xie Xiaozhe, the Amber of History series, and the absence, Paleo in the library cave, giving us an idea of where these historical documents have been founded and how they have stimulated contemporary inspiration. And then the installation work of Gu Fei, Traces and Marks is a rewriting of a famous piece from the Dunhuang library cave, the record of the Mogao Caves, now in the French National Library. And with this echoing of shadows on the actual piece, and then the large golden letters hanging above, showing these visual interactions between this ancient manuscript and then the modern rewriting in a more monumental way. In the historical section, we also have a light installation created by new media artist Chen Zhihao in collaboration with me, titled The Mogao Cliff Lightened. It is a recreation of a lamp lightening festival happened in Dunhuang around the 10th century, recorded in a manuscript that Professor He discussed earlier today, and based on a Russian painting of the cliff, and I will discuss this work later. After this historical encounter with the records of Dunhuang, then we're entering into a large space. First is encountering, what we see there is a large installation, a irregular shaped sand dunes representing the kind of the landscape and Gobi deserts. And just in this mountain area, then we encounter the 2 works, one from the Tang period, a brick with image of a Sogdian merchant leading a camel, showing us the direction we will follow to explore this landscape of sand. And then right next to it is Gao Shiqiang's video work projecting on the sand surface, showing a continuous travel from the ancient and ruined lands with the relics in them to a modern view of the land. This mountain itself is an artwork installation. It is filled with sand imported from the Dunhuang region, from the Gobi deserts, as well as leaves collected in front of the cave, and with tons of fragrance, incense, that were made based on the historical documents from the Dunhuang, giving the journey a multi-sensory feeling, using the sense of smell and touch to feel the landscape of Dunhuang. On the opposite side of this sand mountain are the juxtaposition of two works, the American early explorer Landon Warner's photograph of Dunhuang, both from its countryside, its village site, into the caves, showing the exposed faces of the colossal image Buddha exposed on the cliff, giving us this sense of traveling in the historical time around 1923. And on its left side is a contemporary photography of the similar area by the Dunhuang Academy photographer Sun Zhijun. Next us, it shows us this landscape of snow mountains and the cliff of the Mogao Cave, and until what we see in the cave itself. Then, after we go across the mountain, we then see the representation part. Here we use modern spaces and material to give a kind of abstract feeling of the cave spaces. First, what we encounter is a double curtain, use metal chains to have this translucent effect of the cliff, and then the passageways to represent the overhanging passageway. On the above level is a large elongated space showing the contemporary artwork by Hu Junjun. That's a inclining Buddha in the center with paintings and photos around. And this space pays homage to the cave type Nirvana cave that people can find among the Dunhuang grottos, but in a more floating and open attitude. In the lower level, we have 5 different individual spaces that represent various types. For instance, the first one, the cave suite, will represent an antechamber through which one then enters the main chamber. And then back screen cave, in which the back screen is composed of 3 large paintings suspended in the air, and then spaces like hall cave, library cave filled with manuscripts, and then central pillar cave showing the installation of the cosmic models by Xie Xiaoze. Here I will use the first room, the cave suite space, to illustrate how spatial design has been used to create this dialogue between ancient and contemporary artworks. Here, we use indent ceiling to show Shi Dunyu's painting replica of the lotus center ceiling panel. In the lower part, use a mural altar to reflect that, and in correspondence, there's another lotus-themed artifact, a town brick with lotus patterns. On its opposite side, we then see a artwork made by Shi herself and her parents, a large painting based on a Tang Dynasty Dunhuang Pure Land scene, and then the entrance and mural altar also frame it and connect it to the themes in the antechamber. Also, the Pure Land scene is a theme that has a lotus pond, so the theme of lotus is echoed in that space. And at a larger scale, the artworks in the multiple sections will have such like dialogue as well. The last chapter, mental image part, we situate two axes, horizontal and vertical, in this space to give us some feelings of the artwork together. The most largest two plan work, one by Shao Wenhuan and the other by Ding Yi. They are both reiteration of the Gobi deserts of Dunhuang, but one is using photography, the other is using etching painting to interpret the form and the color of that land. And these two found echoing across the mountain installation. And along the other axis, in the center, we have an ancient artifact, the Northern Liang Stone Pagoda, giving us an idea of the tradition of pagoda used in that region. And on the two ends of this axis, we have Xie Xiaoze's models of the universe, showing how the pagoda has been used as the symbolism of Buddhist cosmology. And on the other hand, Niu Yu's pagoda series show us how people in different regions have such, and their collaborative work can also aggregate it into the pagoda images. And then following that would be the first artist in residency, Yang Zhenzhong's echoing series, being a part of the entire academic program of the art museum. And even outside in the campus, we have art installation, the light installation by Zhenjing Lush to show the locality and then its interaction with the campus. So through this narrative, then we have already, from the first encounter, through these multi-layered spaces, reach at a multiple encounters with Dunhuang from very different aspects. And this field is also created by the juxtaposition and mingling and mixture and dialogue between artworks from different periods. I know I don't have much time, but if I will have a little bit more time, I'd like to get into one of the artwork that I think has created a visual field of many temporalities to further illustrate that point. To understand this, we first need to understand how Dunhuang, the landscape of the Mogao Caves, have been changed, transformed, and still preserve some of its essence through the days. In the present day view, it has been renovated in the modern time and situated in this oasis in the land, and it's now a tourist site and cultural heritage site. But then before this, in the late 19th century to the early 20th century, the first European sketch illustration of that site shows its deserted situation after a fire, and the timber structures have been burned down, and people see the exposed heads of the Buddhas, etc. there. And in Stein's view of that site, there has been an impression of the cliff has been like honeycombed, cut out, and it's saturated by many caves, but people don't really know how these caves were organized. And this question continued to puzzle the future explorers, and one of them, one led by the Russian archaeologist Oldenburg, made a tremendously exquisite documentation of the entire cliff facade in a 12-meter long watercolor painting. And in this detail, you can see the colossal Buddha image has been covered by a 5-level timber facade. And the other, many of them are exposed. So how can this deserted condition tell us more about what the caves would look like in the past days? Fortunately, we have a document about Lantern Festival in the mid-10th century I think Professor He introduced it earlier in the morning, so I will not get detail into its content, but here is just to point out that after researchers in the past time has understand what the texts are and what they tell us about the caves, then we know it gives us an idea of the cliff zoning that can be sectioned into 10 or 11 sections, and then during the festival, give me a few seconds, I will finish it. And then lights for 1, 2 to 7 lights will be used to light every cave in this 500 cave complex. And then there are many, and then the preparation for the lighting during the Laba festival were under the supervisor of the Buddhist monk, and it's conducted by the Buddhists. And here I'm just using an illustration to tell us how this text can be transformed spatially. That, for example, in this one group's lightening the cave, then we know they light the region from the southern colossal Buddha to the cave of Situ. And during that, there's a very big cave that has multi-levels. So for the colossal Buddha, 4 lights are used to light in its lower level and in the heavenly king, so an antechamber of this area. And in another group's region, then we see in their region, it also includes to put 4 lights in the upper level of the colossal Buddha. Then we can connect these 2 groups together by spatially connecting the Buddha, colossal Buddha image, upper level and lower level together. So through this progress, we eventually arrived at an bigger map of how the historically this cave would have been lightened, and these white lines showing the historical connectivities of the individual caves, indicating that there might have been overhanging structures, letting people to go from one place to another. And the sizes of the yellow points shows how many lights would be used in each cave. And based on the historical analysis, we then are given another new question: how to understand and use that for an artwork. Here, we, based on the Russian map, have done a lot of work to make a 3D model, a digital sculpture of the cliff facade, and use light illumination to indicate its the indents and the depths of the cliff. And then we have an animation showing 11 teams going across various caves, entering and exit them, and lightening the interior of each one. So after this entire process of modeling and rendering and animation, then we arrive at the result of recreating this view based on the manuscript and showing the lights of the lanterns, the suns and moons and stars to indicate the passage of time. Eventually, we also added an interactive component to show how this lightning ritual would display the interior of that space. And we have this added component happened during the Laba festival this year. So Dunhuang helped us light the cave, and we passed down this light to a contemporary installation outside the museum and giving new works of public art to that space. And this is my last slide, showing our response to that question raised earlier, how to correspond to the great classical. We are not seeing just the physical form of the cultural heritage site, but also seeing the historical life, in this case, through the lantern manuscript, and use these rituals documented there to think about how the remained physical form can be enlivened. And inspired by that social spectacle, then we created museum, event, and public art, and all these activities are sustained by the gallery space, and in this way, the gallery, the art museum echoes with that classical. Great. Thank you for giving me this time.